So I had an awesome time last night. I DJ'd for a group that it wasn't like a wedding. They got married 10 years ago, and this was like their wedding reception they never got to have with all their friends and stuff. So they had this wedding reception with all their friends and everything. And I get there, and I noticed there was a kind of a theme to like the music we picked out a little bit, but I don't pay that much attention just because I am who I am. And it turns out they really wanted sock hop music. Is everybody familiar with like sock hop music?
Yeah, like 50s stuff.
I forgot how good most of that stuff actually sounds.
Sock hop's good?
Yes, and I don't mean in like that bubblegummy, like, oh my gosh, this is such, like, oh, they would survive right now in the musical. But what I'm saying is sock hop music is so well constructed, and all those people that were having to record it back in those days were so talented because they didn't have editing. They didn't have like digital enhancements or, like vocal tuning or anything else like that. It was you record it, it's right, or you record it and it's wrong.
Yeah, it's called performance.
Yeah.
Don't get started on that now. You'll get people in an uproar.
Do you think did they have sock hop mumble rap?
Sock hop mumble
Is that a
rap?
thing?
No, there was a big band rap actually before rap was actually a thing. It was speaking lyrically over the top of big band like swing music. And I walked to the store and I saw a girl and I grabbed her by the arm and I gave her a whirl.
That's so dated.
Literally. Hey everybody, I'm Dane Holland.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer.
I'm Marcus. I am Electric Man. And I'm back.
And I'm Austin Tiny Zent.
And we are Nerd It Through the Grapevine, the podcast where four best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. And you are back, baby. Well, and I say baby because you now have baby.
I have a baby.
You're a child.
You're a bona fide daddy. And
This is truth.
And you're the only daddy in the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Not involving leather.
Right.
Or dogs. I'm a doggy daddy.
Yeah, me too. I'm a
I've got
doodle
a
daddy.
pupper.
Yeah. I'm a human
Basically
daddy.
the same thing, right?
I'm a human daddy.
He's a cute boy.
Thank you.
He's a cute boy. He looks like you and your wife, and it's good. There's no question.
It kind of looks like you and your wife like smashed together using some
Weird.
kind of force. And because of that smashing, something like sweat or something kind of moved back and forth, and now you have a baby, and it looks like both of you.
It does.
You did
Weird.
You did this genetic combination of your two genetic properties and made it into one living being. And
That's how it works.
now we can all be Scientologists.
Was the stork nice?
I killed it.
Oh,
We ate it.
No.
Okay, at least you ate it.
No, it's a strange feeling. But now I'm over it, and so now like nobody gets to tell me anything. Right. Now I'm just used to it. 2 weeks in, I'm used to it.
You're a seasoned daddy
Yeah.
now. Which actually I think is what a chef is called, a seasoned daddy. Is
No,
that
a
what that's?
seasoned daddy.
Seasoned daddy. I got
There's a
that.
difference. Seasoned and seasoned.
Right. Okay. Never
A
mind.
seasoned daddy though.
Ooh, there
That's
you go.
when you're getting into
That's
some
both.
good territory.
that's a chef with kids like
That's-
Gordon
that's
Ramsay.
a daddy chef.
That's multi-Michelin star chef right there.
What was really cool about your baby is it doesn't look like a little alien.
It did.
Like at first, but I wasn't there for that part.
He did. I promise.
Okay. So, but his alien phase was pretty short-lived.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I think maybe 24 hours or so for the head to go back. I mean, but people can tell you they're like, oh, their head, I look a little. But then when you see it, it's like, whoa. It is shocking. I mean, no, you can't help how you react to it, and it was a shock. It was definitely a shock.
I had a friend in high school.
Even knowing it was going to happen. Sorry.
You're good. But I was just saying, I had a friend in high school who was still self-conscious about the shape of his head as a baby in high school because his mom had pictures of him, and every time he'd had friends over, his mom would be like, "Oh, why don't you go ahead and look at these pictures of Danny? Oh, look at that little Gumby head. Look at it poking up on one side. He's a regular old Gumby." He's like, "I hate this.
And his friends are like, look at him, he's like deformed or something.
Hey, Gumby.
And me being me, of course, I was that guy. I was like, hey, Gumby, what's up? He's like, shut the up.
What a rude baby.
I just have one question, Marcus. How long did his finger glow, like on the tip?
Did that go away quickly?
I mean, 20 minutes.
That's kind of impressive.
And aliens being on the brain, being that Lil Maxie does not look like an alien at all now. Aliens have been in the news, boys. I mean,
Have they?
yeah,
Have they, though?
not really.
Okay.
No, it hasn't. But it's the thing is, even the Pentagon and the Department of Homeland Security are releasing statements talking about how they have more questions than answers over 3 of the U.A.P.s, which stand for unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Thank you.
That's
I didn't know what that meant, but I've heard it a lot lately.
UFO has now been legitimized in the research and scientific community. It's now been legitimized at the point where the U.S. government is researching into it, and they have departments for this, and they call them U.A.P.s now. So unidentified aerial phenomenon, because it's not just unidentified flying objects anymore. That's old speculation. That's almost science fiction for people. It's the fact that the government's making it into reality by giving it a technical classification and then carrying on with research for it. They've got so much stuff. The 3 things that they shot down were all 3 different shapes. They weren't identical at all as far as the way that they looked. And then after all 3 of those, then you had the balloon.
Yeah,
The balloon was first.
One was definitely balloon shaped.
The story, as far as I can tell, is the balloon was first, and it was about 60,000 altitude or whatever. They shot it down after, 8 days? And then the next 3 days, we shoot 3 more things down, none of which we're going to recover, none of which we're going to see photos of, none of which we're going to be explained about. And apparently the president came out and said, like, oh, well, they're more than likely just research or private. It's like, okay, well, then why can't we see them? Yeah. They're saying that, oh, I don't know. Basically what you said, the government has legitimized it. That makes me trust it even less now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all know that the government is run by reptilian aliens.
Right.
So we just have to determine, were these the Nords or were these Greys?
Well, they got to cover their own tracks.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me kind of like, I am who I am. I got to get excited about something that's slightly fantasy. But the science fiction fantasy that comes behind it is also being that the government can now legitimize, oh, yeah, you're seeing something. We don't know what it is, and then just stuff it into a file that's theirs. I mean, so they can still research it, know what it is, and legitimize, more press and journalists going out and finding this stuff. But that doesn't mean that we're going to get more access to the knowledge behind it.
Exactly.
So is UFO a different thing than phenomenon? So
No,
Same phenomenon. They're just trying to update it because, like he said, I mean, the word UFO now comes with things like Tiny saying Nords and Greys and that they run the government. It just comes with so much conspiracy baggage, I think, that they wanted to change the name of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
To somewhat legitimize it.
Or is it truth?
I mean,
who knows?
Is it conspiracy baggage or is it, unrevealed truth?
Well, we just don't know, right? I mean, we can be certain that most of what is said by the UFO people is probably crap, but I believe that with about anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we don't have much reason to believe that it's exactly like the lore will tell us it is. But I think there's just enough of unexplained things to wonder what the crap is going on. I compare it the other day to the JFK assassination. Yeah, maybe it was just one guy who had a screw loose and shot him. But there's just so much information that we have about those days and so much information that we don't have about that. And it's hard to find somebody that doesn't at least not believe one part of that story. Like there has to be something to what happened that day. What is it? We may never know.
There's a documentary filmmaker who also has a podcast that's called Weaponized. His name's Jeremy Corbell.
Oh yeah, he's a total quack.
Yeah, and he's nutso but I like watching the nutso because it's entertaining, but it's also kind of cool because he's taking stuff that's actually being recorded and released from the military as far as them claiming, UAPs. They're saying, well, we have footage of a UAP here. We have footage of a UAP here. They've got all this different footage from test pilots having, interactions with the UAPs. They have footage of actually having one in 2016 that was recently released from Mosul, Iraq, in the middle of a conflict zone, hovering over the conflict zone.
I've seen that.
And he said we need to think about the implications of that. So the implications of that being, if somebody is monitoring us or somebody is watching us, and they're seeing how we're destroying ourselves, it's kind of like, it's scary to think that they could be anywhere watching anything and it's untouchable. They're in the middle of straight up war and just kind of puttering around, just me.
Well, the idea is not very foreign because Santa Claus, we're used to Santa Claus watching us when we're good or we're bad. So if the aliens are watching while we're bad boys and having wars, we kind of get the idea.
Is he always watching?
I'm pretty sure always.
Because I had Taco Bell the other day, and nobody needs to see what that does.
Oh, you're safe because of the bathroom. The bathroom.
Okay.
The bathroom is the one.
So as long as you're in the bathroom, you can't be seen?
No.
If you get Pepto-Bismol.
Not by Santa, but the aliens,
Right.
they
Yeah,
know
that's a whole
exactly.
different-
Oh, God. So they saw the Taco Bell.
Why do you think they plug your butt?
That makes so much sense why they want to study buttholes.
Exactly.
They're like, why would
Yeah.
they eat all these tacos from Taco Bell
I hear
knowing
about-
it does that?
I hereby volunteer myself to be abducted so that they can find out what is going on with my rectum because I have some real bad hemorrhoids. That's just for you viewers out there that needed to know that.
I think if we had you in a big enough field with a big enough spotlight on you, like if your asshole was in the air, like it was getting, what was it?
Sunning.
If
Butthole
you were sunning
sunning.
your butthole. But at night with a nice little light on you, just saying like, it's here. Come get it.
Willing.
Willingly.
I don't know. If it looks like one of them silicone dish scrubbers, they might think the aliens are already there.
We can get one of those. We can invest in one of those. Damn it, Tiny.
The vision.
I tried not to.
Look, it hurt me too. And I'm the one that said it.
I tried to move on quickly, and then my brain kind of. Anyway, we need to get one of those hotel signs that says vacancy that just is pointing down at it too, just enticing. I'd taken a couple notes over this, the UAP stuff that's in the news here recently, and there were 3. It was on February 11th that things kind of went down. There was one that was shot down in Canada, Alaska, and Michigan. The one that was shot down in Michigan actually ended up falling into Canadian waters, even though it was shot down over Michigan.
Supposedly.
Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said.
Does Canada even have water?
I don't think so.
Only part of it's tundra.
Okay.
And then the difference in the way that they look, though, because the one that was shot down that went into Canada was octagonal. It was in Michigan. It got shot down over Lake Huron, and then it drifted down into Canadian waters. It was octagonal. The press release from the Pentagon actually said this is not a balloon, and we'll leave descriptions and classifications to counterintelligence once they release their statements.
And counterintelligence, they love releasing their statements.
That's just what counterintelligence does. They love telling everybody things.
I was going to say, wait a second, like that doesn't line up at all.
Their name is counterintelligence, so they're literally their job is to lie to us.
And I couldn't find the descriptor for the one that was actually in Canada that they had. I'd have to go into the Canadian stuff, and I just didn't want to dig that deep. But you had the one that was in Alaska. The one that was in Alaska was a giant cylinder that was in the sky that was floating and got shot down. So it's kind of like either somebody's just getting frisky with some really big kites, and we don't have any idea why people are wanting to screw with us this way, or it's something that we don't have any idea about. Like, could it be privatized intelligence? Could it be some kind of, I don't know, big research drones or anything else like that? I don't know. But I'd like to believe that it would be something like that, but we'll never know.
To me, the part of the story that doesn't make much sense, maybe there's an easy answer that I'm not thinking of, but we knew it was a Chinese spy balloon for like a long time before we shot it down.
Uh-huh.
But we don't know what these things are, and we shot them down too? Like, I don't understand. How are we able to identify a Chinese spy balloon?
Well,
so easily, but then now we can't identify these other things.
well, maybe we missed, and they just said we shot them down. That's why we don't know what they are.
That's another thing. If they're that advanced, how are we shooting them down?
Yeah.
That is good, because if they're saying like, oh yeah, we shot it down, but it went into foreign waters, so we can't do anything with it.
But my girlfriend goes to a different school.
Yeah, you know,
Yep, exactly.
like
My UAP
You don't
goes to
know
a
her.
different country.
You
Goes to a
wouldn't-
different
You
country.
don't know her. She's from out of town.
you wouldn't know her. No, I met her on the internet. She's from a different school. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just
But
it's
she's so hot.
it's just a dodge. It's all it is. It's
Well,
a
and
dodge.
that's another thing. If these are in fact UAP, the word on the street is that they are transmedium in the sense that they can go into the air and they can go in underwater.
Yes.
Seamlessly.
Yes, without any hesitation or change in velocity or anything, they just flow.
So maybe they shot at it, missed, and then they just ducked into the water, and they're like, "Oh, well, we shot it down, but we're not going to recover it."
So
Yeah.
it went from plane to
knows?
sub.
That's the thing. I mean, they're
Cool.
really not doing all that great to tamp down the conspiracies, are they?
No.
If they're not going to show us what they are,
Yeah.
if they're not, that no one's sure of what they are. Like our congressmen are coming out of these secret briefings and saying, "I'm more confused than I ever was." But what I did hear, about 95% of it could easily be passed on to the American people, and I don't know why they're not.
Yeah.
So that's
because-
weird. That's just weird.
Well,
does that mean aliens? No, but it means something.
I think we as people have been fed enough alien in fantasy and movie and video game and all this other stuff that we have preconceived notions of the idea of alien. So the mass hysteria that could come along from somebody thinking alien, that means infestation, that means infiltration, that means they're here to kill us and take our planet. I mean, it's
But watch out for water
oh yeah.
Thank you, Signs.
Yes, M. Night Shyamalan. He had it
and
right.
War of the Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the bacteria. Just as
Yeah,
simple
and
as
I just realized that Signs is literally just like War of the Worlds from like a farm's perspective.
Yep. Basically, yeah. But with a scarier moment of the party and the fence and the
That was a
walking
great,
behind it.
great scene.
Too
Great
much.
scene.
That's what with all this, it's interesting to think about the whole the conspiracy. Of course, there are 700 million of them, but like with aliens in particular, your brain goes all different kinds of places because it's exciting. Like that's the reason anybody wants to like make up a bunch of stories, because you don't have concrete evidence of much of anything. So your mind goes to all these wild places. But as certain things happen in reality, all of a sudden, like those places in your mind kind of have areas to funnel, because then you start thinking about like the shapes of them. Like, okay, that's going to cause all different types of conspiracies to funnel towards one direction, or the little bit of information they do give you, all of a sudden that's like this little nugget that you can make it mean anything that you want. And you start, I don't know, like it forms a bunch of different conspiracies, the little bits of nuggets of knowledge that you get. But at the same time, how much of the knowledge that you're getting is even like worded in a way to use to come up with a conclusion?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
But that being said, can we stop being skeptical for a minute? Because as unhealthy as what you just described is, I kind of want to do it.
Yeah.
And I want to.
It's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun thing.
Beautiful audience. I am a skeptic, but I choose right now for these moments to just not be. I'm done with the disclaimers. So what's really going on? Now we can get to all the conspiracies, and I don't have to feel like I don't believe it over and over again.
Right.
And they're getting the footage that they're breaking down from the government, that they're actually showing those metallic orbs that have the ability to be flying, and then now we're going like 3 times faster than what any plane can fly. Oh, now we're a submarine. That kind of stuff keeps popping up. In that 2016 video that was showing Mosul, Iraq, in that war zone, was a spherical metallic blorb just kind of floating, hovering in and out. And that's what it's going to be. And possibly too, the idea of these flying saucer style things could also speak to the fact that they could change shape. Like, say they would be, because if they are that liquid metal kind of blorby kind of looking, they could change shape in that, go different ways with it. Say they're flying and all of a sudden it goes flat, up, flying saucer.
Well, that's how we open up like a different sail on a boat,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you move the sails to change with the wind to send you a certain direction. Like that's a cool thought that this like, liquid metal outside shape of the thing can change depending on the weather, what's looking at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Plus,
all that kind of neat
plus
stuff.
something else that's almost disheartening now is that even if we were to get some really good footage, because like there's some footage and it's like, meh, whatever, could be this, could be that. But literally the president of Ukraine was deep faked and sent all around the world saying, lay down your arms, people of Ukraine. Like, I'm just saying, it would be so easy nowadays to just completely fake that footage. So even when I do see, and if I ever see like actual footage or evidence or photos, I'm going to immediately just be like, well, it must be computer edited. I mean, there's just going to be no way to tell for a dummy like me.
That's what sucks about the technology. Like we got to a point to where it's like, okay, now we can finally get like clear images of these things that have all this grainy footage in the past. But the technology moved so quickly that it went from we can get clear footage to we can create footage, and it's seemingly like indistinguishable.
Yeah,
and everything Austin shows me from the internet or tells me from the internet, he's like, you never believe anything you don't believe in magic. And because everything he shows me, I'm like, that's not real. Like they made this. Nothing is real.
He doesn't believe in magic.
None of it.
Hold
honestly,
on, says the man who ruined the man from Tarred for me.
What'd I do?
No. Austin
him. He did it.
Destroyed my whimsy for the man from Tarred. That's what you get. That's karma. Coming back at you. Thank you, Dane, for being a tool of karma.
Welcome.
sometimes I have to cross my own lines, but it's just there are so many deep fakes of everything happening at the same time. But why not think that as part of the equation? And we're getting all up in arms and crazy about the idea of there's a Chinese spy balloon. Yet we all TikTok. They're here. They watching.
You can see a whole lot more with that.
They don't need the Goodyear blimp blaring, Leonard Skinner coming in there and trying to infiltrate. They got us.
Something you said made me think, because it seems like more in the 40s, 50s is when they would see the flying saucer. Nowadays, it seems to be more like a tic tac or an orb or a blurb or whatever you called it, or a triangle. But maybe, since they're coming from far away, that 40, 50 years in our time is like 10,000, 70,000 in their time.
Yeah.
And so the UFO, that's the same, but they have advanced thousands of years since we've been encountering them.
And then there's the whole idea of interdimensional beings. The idea that these people, because it's not crazy to think that if these things can move and operate the way that they move and operate, that they're not from a known existence.
Like Stardust Ranch. My boy Thud over there.
What's
He's
that?
a pan-dimensional being.
Okay.
What is Stardust Ranch?
I was thinking
Okay,
Ram Ranch for a
so-
second.
Yeah, me too.
I can't remember the guy's name who owns the ranch. But basically, pan-dimensional beings, aliens. He said he gets mostly grays, sometimes Nords. They keep appearing on his ranch, and he has to fight them to the death.
Where do they go when he kills them?
They just kind of disappear over time. Oh. So the main one that keeps coming back that he's not been able to get rid of is Thud. I don't know why the being's name is Thud. I don't know if Thud said his name is Thud or what. I don't know where the Thud part come from.
Have they
But
checked?
there is Thud, and he is a gray.
Have they checked
He lives among us now.
the body of this individual that's reporting all this for track marks? Have they checked?
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually,
like in
I
his
was
undies?
listening to an interview with him on the way here, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't say if he named him Thud or not.
I didn't get that
Because I
far.
wonder if, like, every time he shoots him, he falls over, makes a thud noise, and
I
gets
mean,
back up and just starts
if
running
he
away.
did, I didn't hear that part.
Right.
It's the sound of his big old head when it hits the ground.
And then he just gets right back up.
Is that right, Marcus?
How you doing, Thud? You feeling better, Thud? Come on up.
It might be that, like, big old,
Uh-huh.
No.
Marcus said it first.
Don't
No, I mean his
alien
alien
Wayne.
head. A big, aliens have big heads.
Oh, not like not like his alien head, his big old alien head. I got you.
Yeah.
As far as we know, they don't have those. They're smooth down there.
That's
Don't
true.
say that! Don't say that! My human anatomy can't comprehend smooth babies.
Maybe they're asexual.
There's no way Thud don't have a hammer. I'm just saying. His name is Thud. It has to be Thud for a reason.
Oh.
I mean, his wife's probably named Thudette or something.
You know, and I don't know if like Ridley Scott or if any of the people that have done like these big alien productions have kind of looked into what's happening with these modern takes on the like the U.A.P.s and everything. I wonder if that's ever going to actually infiltrate the cinematic universes. I wonder if what's happening in reality will ever actually penetrate into this, cinematics. Are we going to see like these orb-like things become more nature to the cinematic aliens, like these little metallic orb metal things? Are we going to see that become, something that pops up in the culture more because that's what's happening on the videos and everything that's being released? So why not have that as something to bring, that little bit of real feel to your alien movies?
Are you talking about like District 9?
Did District 9 have little metallic orby thingies?
It was more like, saucers or plates.
Oh.
Whatever kind of dish.
I was asking specifically for metallic orbies.
It was metallic. You just said more realistic.
They were metallic.
That was a very realistic style movie in regards to aliens.
Well, it's like the saying of life imitates art. Like, so you start seeing things happen in life that have been created in these fictional stories. But how many of these fictional stories took things from real life and used that as inspiration for the fiction? So it's like this cycle of, is it real or is it from fiction? And you're saying like some of the things we're seeing in reality we'll start seeing in fiction, to where the reality blends with that sci-fi world, like that you're viewing on TV. And I would say so. I mean, what was the, there was the big floaty metal object that Amy Adams went into and talked to aliens. Arrival.
Good movie.
The shape of that one sounds like something that would be in, was it like rectangular or something? I don't even remember the shape of it.
Looked like a big like squished peanut.
A squish peanut
or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
But the shape of it and the way it was hanging there in the movie, and the sounds of the shapes of all these things in the sky, I think that one is the one to where I'm most like, I can see it in my head now because I've seen that movie. So that's why I imagine seeing in real life.
I'd much rather it be that way than the War of the Worlds style saucers with giant death tentacles and intestine cages and all that other stuff that they absorb.
Spooky.
Yeah, and next thing you know, like the human bodies are being absorbed and exploded out with the blood and all this other. Yeah, I don't want to think about that. I want to think of my nice aliens.
What about like Tommy knockers?
You have to explain that better because I'm unsure
That's
of
Stephen
the reference.
King, yes?
Stephen King, yeah.
Yeah, tell me the Tommies of the knocker.
You haven't seen Tommy knockers?
No, is that an alien?
It is an alien.
I didn't know
Stephen
that.
King alien book, yeah. Basically, some point in time, aliens crash landed in this, small town, like out in the mountains and the forests, and they died off. But somehow, like, their spirits were kind of trapped in the ship. So this lady who lives there stumbles upon the ship walking her dog. There's just this little bitty old metal sticking out of the ground, and she trips on it.
Okay.
And she's like, what the heck is that? And starts digging around, and she becomes obsessed with excavating whatever this is. It's like an unnatural obsession. And her friend comes down, and long story short, this whole town gets sucked into digging up this thing, and they're making weird technology that's like never been seen before. Like they're using like D-cell batteries and some like coat hangers and a mothball to, nuclearly power the house.
Some MacGyver shit.
Yeah, it's straight up alien MacGyver shit. And they're like obsessed, and they're driven to do this thing. And there's spoilers.
Yeah, because I kind of want to view it or read it now that you.
Yeah,
It was
I'm not
aliens.
going to spoil.
Damn it, Marcus!
I'm not going to spoiler it, but there are aliens.
the compelling nature of the alien craft that's making the town go insane, like with obsession. That's not an unheard of thing in alien lore, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the Steven Spielberg movie that came out in the 70s with Richard Dreyfuss. That one right there, it has several things that happen throughout the movie that keep revolving around people being drawn to the Devil's Tower, which is that giant plateau in I think Arizona, something like that. But they're driven to be seeing. They're seeing images of it. They're getting flashes of it. They're thinking about this and that. That's all revolving towards this meeting place of where the aliens are going to be, and that's really not unheard of. I mean, the obsessive nature of like that psychic link that you can't get rid of, that extra part of your brain that we don't know quite what it does. It's being accessed, and now we're driven towards this obsessive nature, with anything happening of this extraterrestrial nature. It's cool, but it's also scary to think that things can act psychically like that. That's again #NotMyAliens. They're
speaking of them acting psychically, I mean, if we take this back in time, we're being visited and abducted by aliens, but way back in the day, it was elves or it was gnomes or it was something else. So, I mean, this whole idea, mythology, if you want to look at it that way, is just, it's kind of the same to us. It's just we've dressed it in a sci-fi style instead of whatever they thought it was.
Well, the comprehension of technology now leads us to think more so on the lines of this isn't a monster, this is an extra-worldly being. We're more scientific brained enough to think like, oh, this has got some kind of scientific explanation. The time before science, it was a mythological creature. It was the little ones. Those were going to definitely be your fairies and your goblins.
But at the same
and all
time, if
that
they're interdimensional, isn't that just as magical as they thought it was?
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like the lines between I understand. Like I said, I'm a skeptic, but still, it's indistinguishable from magic to a dummy like me.
That would be like case in point examples of people talking about stepping into the Fey realm.
Exactly.
And places along those lines. Like that could be an explanation. Like those portals are open and you're seeing this actual other dimension that they don't understand dimensions. Like I barely understand dimensions and I'm a nerd.
Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of did in the sense of like the spirit world and the dream realm and Hades, and they had other kind of extraplanar things in their cosmologies.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's same as us. It's just we have what we like to think is a more accurate representation of the true cosmology, like in the sense of the shape of the universe and how there may be other universes just as big as ours bubbling out and then slowing down, like basically like fireworks. Mm-hmm. You look at the sky and there's fireworks coming out. Boom, one explodes. That's a universe being born, expanding, and then the light goes out into the heat death, and then it all draws back again to just over and over. I don't know if I made that image very good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
When did you become a poet?
Oh, he's been
my
one for
whole
a long
freaking
time.
life.
When did you become a
forever?
poet?
Have you ever listened to his
when
music?
When did you become an anxiety trigger?
My whole life.
Yeah.
That's like my personality.
My one big fear and I've thought about this just because we had talked like, hey, we're going to talk about aliens a little bit. That it's a fear of mine that aliens will actually come to Earth. And the way that they will exterminate the humans is by turning off gravity.
Yeah, we talked about that one day. Like,
I'm sorry.
What would happen?
I'm sorry. I still have visions sometimes, of while I'm driving, just thinking like, wow, this car is really heavy. If there was no gravity, we'd all die.
Oh, there goes gravity. I'm sorry, that's Eminem.
Sorry.
I don't know. We might not die. We just might learn how to like swim through the soup that is now air.
Well, if
I wouldn't be afraid of heights anymore if I could fly.
If you became one with
because I couldn't
heights.
fall and die.
If there's no gravity, then we would be sucked into the vacuum
I
of
would
space.
be like a whale, a land whale,
a sky whale.
a sky whale.
Tiny,
except
if
I'm a person.
It's okay for you to call yourself that, but if I was to ever say it, you would want to
wasn't
slap
talking-
me.
No, I was just picturing a whale being at the top of the ocean going, oh, God, I'm really high up here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah.
Not
It'd
like
be
a large
that,
American.
but not like, I mean, I am a large American, but that's not what I was referencing.
Okay.
I was
But
just,
then you brought it up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. See what you did?
I just think
You
that
heard it,
I think it's
asshole.
a
You hurt me.
I think it's a
I'll
scary
turn you
idea.
into a flower pot.
Have you been playing Hogwarts Legacy too much?
Look, no, that was a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. Okay.
Okay.
I would say read a book, but you can't read.
There's
read.
at least one other person out there that listens to this that may or may not get the reference.
42. See, I get it. I get the
there's
references.
one.
I'm all with you.
The answer to the life's question.
Life, the universe, and everything.
Thanks for the
Jackie
fish.
Robinson.
We have always. There's always in every like alien story or thought or idea. We always project like humanity onto the way that we think they would act. Like they're going to invade us. The idea of invading is a very human-like. Like that's a very human thing. Or we think they're here to right. I mean,
Well, it just depends.
invasion. Yeah, like the idea
There are other species that do it, I'm sure.
that invade in the sense of like
There are other species. Yeah. They don't invade us.
right.
That it just, I don't know. I could be wrong. So
Well,
just
the-
continue. I feel bad for interrupting.
No,
you.
don't interrupt me. You're adding to the thought process of it.
I'm trying.
Like, but that's also things on our planet that we've witnessed, and we can relate to the fact that we do that too. And we go, okay, if aliens do come, they're gonna we have the audacity to think they care about who our leader is. Like that's like we think aliens are a bunch of Sharons. I'm gonna say Sharon because my mother's name is Karen, and she's very nice, and she is not a Karen. So Sharon, we think that aliens are like these Sharons that are coming to ask for the manager whenever they show up to the planet. Like, take me to your manager right now. I've got a qualm, and it's just, to me, in my head, I'm like, what do I fear? I have megalophobia, like giant things that shouldn't be that big. Like whenever the Eternals, like the I forget the name of them in the Eternals, but the celestial being, it's so massive that you can't grasp the size of it. And whenever we see most alien stories, they fit into either the size of a person or a little bit bigger or a little smaller. Think like Mars Attacks, like those little like those little guys.
They were little people.
They were. But in my head, my fear is this like celestial like entity that's just so massive in size that we just see like the finger going through the sky. And that's my big fear of life out there. Like, what if we can't comprehend the size of the life out there?
I think that it's our hubris as a species to think that regardless of what's going to come for us as a race, that we'll be able to defeat it.
Right.
Literally every little. Speaking of Mars Attacks, the aliens, they can't be beat. You're trying to shoot them down, gun them down. They're killing you. They're frying you. But somebody fucking yodels. And their brains explode. That's how they died. And then you've got signs, and it's like, oh, the U.S. military has no idea what to do. And then the director of the movie stops in midway to go ahead and spoil the entire rest of the movie for you. We didn't know at the time. I'm going somewhere with water. I heard they don't like that. Like,
Aquafina shim.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Thanks. I thought it was good. I thought about it like a minute ago and I had to hold on to it. You didn't like it? Mark, Aquafina shim?
I'm allergic to these things.
It hurts me too, and I don't have the same proclivity as Mark.
You take an inferior brand and you say that's on he wrote. And that's just as bad, isn't it?
Look, here's the thing. We all automatically assume that these aliens are so far advanced. What if they just like pull over in the equivalent of like an 83 beat up Silverado, eat up with rust with their space skull in their mouth, and they're just lost on a road trip to the Grand Space Canyon, and they're like, what are these little things? And they come down and they're like, hey, that one's kind of hot. I want to it. I mean, they might be like space rednecks that show up. We don't know.
Let's stick stuff up its ass.
Let's stick stuff in its ass and see what happens.
Earth is the Alabama of the universe, and the only people visiting are there by accident.
Yeah, and they're the Kentuckians.
Well, hey, I'm just wondering, what's this hole down here? It kind of smells delicious.
Well, we'd be able to relate to them the most because we run into them daily, and we're like, hey, you need a spit cup? All right, you're cool.
By the way, that's a
gonna
nice
keep
mullet, even though it's made out of these weird tentacle things.
You hand them a plastic bottle, and they've never seen something so toxic to the environment, and they are so happy that you gave it to them to spit into. That they're just like, these creatures gave us the ultimate form of destruction.
They gave us a vessel. I feel like the spit would be green.
Oh man,
know
hope
why.
they don't hand it back to you. At least you can, not drink the
I
Dr.
don't
Pepper
know.
bottle.
I mean, look, I would try their space skull. I wouldn't like it, but I would try it. Because,
And then it would eat you from the inside out.
I feel like, because, just like a lot of
Kinda
little
like our-
boys
kinda like
that
our
just
Earth
want to
ones does.
share. He pulls out his space can and he packs it just like.
You're assuming he has fingers, so you're doing the
mean,
same thing that Hollywood does.
Well, I mean, okay, they might be tentacle appendages, whatever. And then he
You're assuming
packs
they
his
have
space
mouths.
can. Look, I'm just saying, Marcus. I thought you was suspending disbelief.
Well,
It sounds
I wanna
like-
make a
It
point.
sounds like you're venturing back over into Skepticity.
No, I'm trying to make a
Drive
point.
out of Skepticity and go to Acceptanceville. That's where we're at right now.
Alabama.
Acceptanceville.
Skepsis.
Acceptanceville, Alabama.
No, I was just wanting to make a point about how we do humanize. Well, they're called humanoid, right? When you're talking about an alien that has arms and has eyes and a nose and a mouth, and it's like, in all likelihood, if life evolved on another planet, much like it does ours, that's a big assumption, right? Well, I mean, I think it. I don't have any evidence for this, but I do think that if we found life on another planet, it would be Darwinian life. Like it would have evolved like it has here. But that's completely different environments. There's no guarantee
See,
that
that's an assumption too, Marcus.
what?
You're making assumptions
said.
again.
That's what I said. He doesn't know. Like,
Oh,
he
I
doesn't
know.
know.
I just wanted to
I don't
be
know.
Marcus.
Oh, you're still skeptic.
Oh yeah, I want to just be Marcus.
You're in
right
skeptic.
now. Now I'm in
Okay.
skeptic mode.
Skepticity. I see.
Oh, yeah,
Dang
I'm
it!
driven
Now we've
over
got
to
him.
Skepticity.
Now we've got him going. But that there is a field called speculative biology where people speculate, like they go and find planets out in the universe, and oh well, it's windy, and so maybe the bugs on that planet would have little parachutes attached to their body where they could, kind of sails, like
That's
sails.
fun.
Because like there's some planets where the wind goes in the same direction around the planet constantly, right? The wind doesn't work like it does here. And so, and there would also be like a lot of dust and things would be blown away. So it's like, well, if we look at life on Earth and how they deal with similar environments, they would have little traps in their bodies to trap nutrients as it's being blown. It's really cool. There's something on Netflix that's similar to this. I just don't remember what it is called, but they speculate as to what biology might look like on these other planets based on the factors. And it's really, really hard to come up, because I've been trying in my own little world building phases to come up with a unique alien that's not humanoid, because that's just really hard. Because if you look at Star Wars, Mass Effect, I'm sorry, Tiny.
No, you're good. You're good.
All of the stuff, they all are humanoid aliens.
You're always projecting humanity on
Exactly.
the
And
being,
I think to some degree that's cool, because the eyeball has evolved many times independently of each other. Like the eyeball has formed in other species and in other species. And there's still some species today that have very, very primitive eyes to where they can really just see light. They can't really focus on anything. So it's not impossible that humanoid aliens could evolve on other planets, but how likely is it? We have no idea.
right.
Go
You're
ahead,
saying?
Tiny. Prove me wrong.
I was just gonna say it's just a scientist playing 10 like.
I was going to say, it's like running
Someone translate this for me.
10 like is a video game?
No, that's like when you're a little kid and you're like, hey, 10 like I'm a French fry and the whole world's ketchup. You know?
yeah.
It's just scientists playing pretend. That's all that
10
really
like.
is.
Well, you can
Hey,
take
10 like, if the wind does this and his arm does this and his face does this, then now he
they are
explodes.
playing pretend, but they're basing it off of known science. Could they be completely wrong? Yes. That's why it's called speculative biology.
Yeah.
They are speculating.
Tend like biology.
Pretty much.
They'll tell you to their face, like, none of this has any truth to it.
How
but
do I get a
here's
job
cool.
playing 10 like?
It'd be awesome.
Because I mean, we could go to another planet and find that life has evolved completely differently, and that it doesn't follow natural selection like it does here. So we don't know.
Unnatural selection.
I mean, you can even get into the alien realm of thought that it's not even humanoid as far as it, like say it's a sentient spore.
Right.
Like that's creepy and scary.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of spores being able to control other things, and then there's the hive mind. It's like watching Last of Us, except it's more alien than it is natural fungus. That's because
Well, and The Last of Us is basing their, they've obviously taken creative liberties, but there are people who speculate that mycelium, which is basically the network by which fungi, however you say it, communicates with each other and communicates with the environment chemically. Mm-hmm. They communicate chemically, and some people can eat these, and the mushrooms will communicate chemically with you too. But
What kind of mushrooms those?
different kinds.
Oh, okay.
How does it talk to you, Marcus?
I'll explain later. But I don't know. So it's just really cool because there could be intelligences on this earth that we just can't detect. And to think that we would just know if we found life in the universe, like it's hubris to even think that we would be able to detect life in just based on what we know, because it could be so different from what we know.
Yeah,
We
to
don't
even
know.
comprehend what we think we could find.
Right.
Like,
The whole earth could be sentient as far as we know.
Right, because you can't base it off of what makes us is going to make them them.
Exactly.
And that's what we try to project onto everything. Got an alien that's came to Earth. Oh, well, that's Superman. He looks like us. He is us. Superman is us, but he is nothing like us.
Right.
At the same time, like his DNA is completely different. His body makeup is completely different. He just looks like us, and he can pass as one of us. And then same person, that can be in there from DC as well, tries to blend in like us because he has the ability to shapeshift and
Martian
change his form.
Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter, also an alien, also completely different fundamentally from the way that a human works, but blends in with humans. The idea of them blending in with us and never being seen could most likely be the scenario as well. Hell, Men in Black had it down on on that. They had the giant viewing screen with all the different celebrities up there that have became famous that are actually aliens and all this other stuff. But it could be the case. We'll never know until we do, and then it's too late. That's the case in every time we find out in movies. It's too late.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the idea of aliens, just the thoughts of them, or the experiences in quotation marks, all that kind of stuff, because we wouldn't have all the sci-fi that we have now without that idea, of aliens that are out there. And there's so many cool things that we've seen or played or read that have something to do with this idea that none of us have actually seen, other than those that have said they have. But right, but it's just cool that it got that wild. Like, it has that much impact on our culture, and yet it's like you said, it's like speculative science. Basically, it's like, well, if you look at the entire galaxy, the universe, all the galaxies, and you zoom out to where Earth is a part of that and look at the giant picture, what are the chances that Earth is the only one with anything living on it out of every bit of those systems everywhere?
Also taking into account that the building blocks that lead to life, as far as we know, are everywhere in the universe.
Not to mention those are carbon-based life forms, and who knows?
Right. There might be some completely different based life form.
Helium.
Right. There could be.
Yes.
You never know. You literally never know. But you've got depictions in the realm of aliens in cinema, whether it be television or books or movies, whatever kind of publication that they've come in. They've got pretty much three categories. They've got good, they've got bad, they've got indifferent. And the little indifferent number 3 there's not a lot of that. Yeah. There's not a lot of alien indifference when it comes to stuff. I don't know. I mean, I come to think of it, I only have one in my brain, and that's the movie Paul.
Yeah.
that has Seth Rogen voicing an alien.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
But he's indifferent. He's just there.
Yeah.
Like, he's not trying to do anything. He's just there. Like, he doesn't want to be. He's here. What do I do now? Like,
Roger from American Dad.
Roger from American Dad is evil.
He's indifferent. No, he's just doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Stan.
E.T.'s somewhat indifferent.
E.T. is,
But I guess you could call him good, though.
E.T. is more
Yeah, he
along.
healed a little boy. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
E.T. is the good alien.
Well, and they're all the aliens in Star Wars that aren't on the screen.
Yeah.
Most of them are just kicking it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
that's
chilling.
true.
But I'm talking as like aliens that are invading, or like coming to Earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you've got your good, your bad, or indifferent. There's no real gray area to that, unless you're talking about the Greys, because that's a gray area.
Oh,
Sorry.
The Greys are supposed to be like very telepathic, right? They're supposed to be like very.
Yeah.
That's Thud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, Thud's
cool,
a
cool,
great-
cool.
You know,
Well, their
the-
heads are so big.
The ones with the eyes that are like that big, that their mouths are like this big, and they don't
Yeah,
really,
little-
they're not going to talk to you, but you're
little
going to hear
dumb
them.
and they
And
don't have genitals.
So you say?
Think about it again.
Shut
Austin.
up!
Think
Look,
about it.
there was some movie that had Greys that they said their fingers were their genitals, and they greeted each other by kicking themselves in the groin.
What?
I
Wait,
don't
what
remember
was
what
that?
movie this was. I don't know, but
Was-
it just popped back in my Austin. What movie
I
was
think
that?
it
What
was
color
a-
was the border?
I don't know. They were gray aliens.
Was
I
it an
think
orange
was
border?
it was a comedy that was making fun of signs. I
Yeah,
think because it was
maybe.
the aliens from sign. I think they were even on the farm when the aliens show up,
Yeah, it was
and then
like
they kick each other.
Yeah, it's like a prairie desert looking thing. or
Oh,
something.
disaster movie.
And they were like
Disaster
peeing through their finger.
Was it disaster movie?
think
No,
was
I've never seen that.
I think it was
No.
disaster movie. Well, you might have accidentally seen it and not known what it was. Like, stumbled upon.
It's one of those parody
I mean,
films.
it's possible.
Like not another teen movie, not another scary
Yeah.
movie, like not another sci-fi movie or whatever. It was something like that.
Yeah.
but I do remember
Epic
that. It's
movie.
really funny.
Epic movie. It could have been disaster movie or epic movie. Either one of those, because they kind of have that same kind of.
As far as I know, I've not seen either one of those movies.
Okay. Well, I tried. That's all you can ask of me is to try.
I mean, it's true.
The idea of aliens is always going to intrigue me. It's always going to be something that I don't wholeheartedly believe in. Like oh my God, there it is. There's an alien, but I want to believe. I'm
Like that poster. That
I
says,
am,
want to
yes.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, or if Tanner, our good buddy Tanner, in his artwork, and he had a picture of Justin Bieber he had a picture of Justin Bieber's head in like an episode of the X-Files like background, and he says, "I want to believe," But I do. I want to believe, but there's so much to question that what are you even supposed to believe that you believe?
That's the fun part.
That's what separates you from someone who's like deep in it, like the rabbit hole conspiracy theorist, is that you recognize that you want to believe, therefore you should question that belief real hard before you let yourself believe it.
Right.
And that's just me being a skeptic.
Yeah,
So that's what I think people should
And
do.
I feel
Those
like
ones that you want to believe, you've got to be careful of.
I feel like the ones that make the most compelling arguments are also the exact same ones that are like government came and took my baby. Like they're all so far out there, it's hard to believe anything they say. So I don't know, and maybe honestly, maybe that's just media stigma making you not believe them. Painting them.
It's
in
all about
Exactly.
how you spin it, man.
Yeah.
Right.
What would it take for you to believe that we have had a visitor here?
a knock on the door, and them saying, "Hi, I'm not from here."
I mean, but your neighbor from the street over could do that.
No, they couldn't. Willie,
Like, hey,
Willie wouldn't let them.
I'm not from here.
That's true. My dog would lose his mind, so I don't think they'd ever get the chance.
Yeah,
To
it would be
knock
hard.
on the door.
That's a good question because it's like
It's a good question.
any
It's the
kind
question.
of any kind of footage like the skeptic, because I'm a super skeptic just like you. I am immediately going to believe that it's some kind of doctored, created AI made video. But in person, I think is probably the only way. But even at that point, it's like, well, what is this real?
Could I be being deceived?
Yeah.
What if Neil deGrasse Tyson said it? Like he is the magic spaceman.
Yeah, but
I'm just throwing that out
Yeah.
there.
he's full of himself.
I mean,
though.
I don't like him.
loves
He's
You know,
really
some people
smart,
do.
and I
Right.
appreciate. Yes, he's very smart, but I
Yeah.
appreciate his skepticism. But he's annoying.
Yeah,
I mean, he
so
is.
I wouldn't just
I can't
believe
stand the
everything.
man, but I mean, I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
he's
I
like
appreciate him, but he sucks.
He's like the hot girl that knows she's getting prom queen. Like that's all there is to it. Like he's the smart guy that knows he's the smart. He knows he's smart.
I just saw him in a prom dress.
Ooh, would you like what you saw?
Isn't she lovely?
Well, he always
No.
talks over people too. He just
does.
always talks over people, and he's got this smug like attitude. But I tend to agree with most of the things he says. It's just it's so hard to say that with his attitude. I don't know.
It's being an intelligent narcissist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is, and it is really annoying. But at the same time, you're like, well, I mean, he knows what he's talking about.
When it
But you
comes
could
to
say it differently.
astrophysics, when
Yeah,
it comes to
astrophysics.
astrophysics, he knows what he's talking about.
When it comes down to what will take, what it's going to take for us to actually believe what we see is probably going to be personal interaction. Because, just thinking on the realm of AI and what it can do, it's not only creating these scenes, that you're seeing in the sky of, oh my God, look, there's an alien. Like literally there could be an account on the internet that posts a picture of themselves with an alien in the sky behind them, and nothing in that picture exists in reality, including them, including the ship in the sky, the city they're in. Nothing is real.
Yeah, for me, it would be a personal, like physical type experience mixed with, because the human mind's very, very easy to fool, mixed with others having the same experience.
We got to have a shared experience so we can like lock hands and know that we've all seen what we saw.
And then, because then you ask yourself, well, what should I see? Well, the government will freak out. This will happen. This will happen. So if things start falling in line, there's really no reason to not believe it, other than this could all be fake. And if it's all fake, then they're so powerful that who cares anyway?
And at the same time, too, how are we even going to get the information out there to be able to tell people what we saw and people give a shit in the first place? I mean, we try our damnedest every week on this podcast, but say this is our outreach and we're trying to get to people to let them know aliens exist. Like, no, guys, really, no, we saw this. All four of us at the exact same time in my backyard. We got visited. His name was Opa, and Opa was amazing.
His cousin was Thud.
63 people are going to see it on the internet, and then half of them are going to.
We have that many?
Dude, it's growing.
Yeah.
No,
Whoa.
they're going to have that many people see it on the internet, and you're going to have half of those people just try to argue everything that we say.
Yeah.
As they should.
Yeah.
Because who would believe that? If we were all for trying to convince everybody, like not many people would believe it. Even our listeners would be like, what's going on with them?
There's only been one of us to lie on the show, Mr. Nintendo. So I think if we say it, they should believe us.
My intentional deceit.
And all of my deceit that I have on here is just from me looking up stuff that doesn't exist in reality, like Chris Hemsworth, not Chris, but Liam Hemsworth as the Witcher. Turns out that was a deep fake, and I got fooled by it.
He did get fooled.
Let's go ahead and call sour grapes on that a few days
He
later.
probably hadn't even started filming yet, has he?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I was on the toilet the other day just kind of scrolling Reddit, and I saw like the deep fake of it, and I just yelled from the bathroom, "The Witcher thing wasn't real." He was just like, "Of course it wasn't."
You sit there so satisfied on your pot.
Yeah, he was. He was taking a dump, and he was being satisfied by proving me
like,
wrong.
Elmo, the one of him on the toilet, it's just like little dancing with his kicking feet and stuff.
Were you both pooping at the same time? Because
Probably.
in my mind, you were both on toilets at the opposite ends of the house.
No, we couldn't have shared the experience. I was on the couch, and he had the door open.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we could still
So
communicate.
you still make eye contact.
Yeah, when the ladies aren't here, we poop with the door open.
You just
Yeah.
lean forward and, hey, how's it going in there? Everything's fine.
Well, I know what I'm doing after this podcast.
Yes.
My wife is still here.
I'm not going to show her anything
Adhere to the
inappropriate.
code of conduct.
But
I'm just going to say, hey, Trudy, can you just like step outside for a few minutes? We need to have a moment.
But we do, that is what we've done today on the show is fun. Like it's fun to sit around and talk about aliens and what could it be and what might it be and what are they hiding? What are they not telling us? It's like you said, there's a line of I want to believe this. It's a lot of fun to talk about. And then I'm dedicating my life, my relationships, my life decisions to the fact that this is real.
Yeah.
Even though, it might be, might not be. Like it's that line.
I'll reserve my beliefs until I see evidence.
And
That's all I'll say.
And a lot of people too kind of struggle with even the concept of an alien or the concept of extraworldly beings, just because the idea of the unknown frightens them so much that they don't even want to have the conversation.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's the unknown. That's not something that I want to waste my mental energy on. The unknown does not scare me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to a Chinese buffet right after we get through recording this episode. The fear of the unknown does not
There's
exist.
nothing unknown there.
There's
You
nothing
know
unknown about
exactly
that.
what's going to happen.
There is food there, but you don't know what kind. It says chicken, but did it meow originally? Wait, no, who knows?
Yeah, the other day it kind of freaked me out because my mom comes to see my son, her grandson, and she's like, "So have you heard about the UFOs that have been in the news?" And I'm like, "Wait, this is not how this is supposed to go. I'm supposed to tell you about the UFOs, and you're supposed to think I'm crazy."
Yeah.
Why? But now even people who are way more likely to not believe it are like talking about it.
Yeah,
and that is a bit weird.
My dad too.
But that could also mean it's just a psyop. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Like even my dad too. He's not an alien guy. He's not on the same wavelength as us four idiots here. But he watches the news constantly. That's his. Oh God, I'm going to use the word very loosely here. Entertainment. So he watches the news constantly, and he said the same thing to me. He's like, "Hey, I've been seeing on the news. They got a lot of them UFOs out there again. Have you been seeing anything about that?" I'm like, It's mainstream news that there's U.A.P.s and UFOs happening now. It's mainstream news, and the world's not losing their mind anymore.
Right. Well,
we've become
We don't give a
desensitized.
damn anymore.
If they are real, I mean, that's kind of how you would want it to go, right? You would want the stigma to be gone before the information was given to people, because like the slow rollout, basically of, hey, these things are real. They're nothing what you ever imagined before. Like everything you've seen in fiction and everything you've thought about aliens isn't true, but they're real, and we'll slowly tell you how.
Well, and that could be what's happening right now too.
Well, I
Right.
mean,
It could be a slow drip kind
Yeah.
of thing.
I mean, it started back in the 50s with Roswell. They're really slow rolling it. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
70 years.
And
Right.
you've
Yeah.
got conspiracy theorists that go all the way up to people thinking that like, even advances in modern technology have been actual reverse engineering of alien technology over the decades. Like people legitimately believe that the reason that we have microchips and the reason that we have all this micro technology now is because we have backwards engineered it, reverse engineered it from alien technology discovered at crash sites. Like it. I don't have that.
Can you explain Bluetooth?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Whenever you were little, you had way too much colloidal silver as a home remedy, and then all of a sudden your teeth turned blue.
Well, damn. I just never looked it up. I just never Googled it.
You didn't specify which
I
Bluetooth.
know.
Well, can
It
you
is.
explain blue tongue?
It is hard to kind of imagine that in 1900 we're still horse and buggy, and then in 1960 we're on the moon.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is a lot of advancement in a very short period of time, and it's not slowing down. But that's also just goes to show why people are now more willing to believe that there are advanced civilizations out there.
Because look at what we've done.
Yeah,
and the
right.
amount of time we've done.
And now that AI's on the picture, it's AI's going to change the world more than the internet did.
That's a scary statement, Marcus.
It's very scary.
Internet is not okay. Okay, I can see what you're doing here. Canonize it. Let's get that bell ringing.
Wait, what am I canonizing?
AI is going to have a bigger effect on the world than the internet.
That's not even
AI
my
is
opinion.
the internet.
That's what
just
Marcus
reality.
said.
Wait, hold on.
Marcus,
AI
that's
is
just a
the
fact.
internet. I ain't canonizing that.
Yeah, plus that's not my idea anyway.
But
Like,
you said it.
yeah, I said it because it's common knowledge.
It is in the reality.
Yeah, gosh.
It doesn't even have to be in our Grapevine
I
universe.
mean, Google's already shitting their pants over ChatGPT. They're already.
they literally shat their
Yeah,
pants because you just rang the bell.
that was poor Google shitting their pants.
But so wait. So explain that. What's that again? The GPT.
ChatGPT. Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
It's a thing that you can prompt. It's a language model that you can prompt, and it will like write you emails. It will write you. It wrote me lessons for my class. It's amazing. I mean, it's written lore for my fantasy world. It's named my factions of my fantasy world. It's amazing. I mean, like, just play with it and get your mind blown. Seriously, and this is just the early stages of it.
And it's free too.
Yeah,
Damn.
And,
as of right now.
Like for right now.
Mid-Journey for words.
Yes, that's what I was going to
Where do you
say.
find this at?
Oh,
You go to openai.com and there's a chat GPT button. You click on it.
That's weird.
It's really neat, man. Like
It's so cool.
you can ask it all kinds of stuff. It only has so much programmed into it to a certain point in time. I
But it'll
think
get
2020, maybe
Yeah,
2021.
it'll get better.
But it'll get better and it'll get more current.
I actually tried to solo RPG the other day and use ChatGPT as my DM, and it didn't go as badly as you would think. Like, it knows what an adventure should be, at least in the very most vanilla sense possible.
Have you talked dirty to it?
I
I'm
have
sure
not
you
tried.
could. Unless they have they may have NSFW filters on it.
Yeah,
like
they
Midjourney
try
does.
not to make it inappropriate.
Yeah.
They do
Freedom
try
of
to make
speech, man.
Yeah,
I mean, I agree.
Freedom of speech.
I agree, but they are also trying to eventually going to try to sell a product, and if that product, uses,
So you're for censorship. Okay.
I'm not.
I don't know where you're at, Mark.
I'm not. I'm just saying
Now
it
that we
makes
know where
sense.
you're at.
It makes sense why the company would be.
honestly, I would kind of worry for the world a lot more if the porn industry got a hold of the AI technology.
Oh, it's
Oh,
coming.
well, yeah,
it's
well.
coming.
That's what it's called. That's the name. That's the title of the first AI movie.
Well, think about it. Think about
God.
being able.
It took it a second. I'm like, what the hell is he saying?
Think about being able to talk to the most attractive person you've ever seen. Maybe even change things slightly, like to be, just right. Like, our eyes are too big. Let's shrink them down a little bit. And then for it to just entertain you and talk about, be into whatever you're into, and to actually surprise you. And then, we'll pay a subscription fee, and now you can do it all.
There was a
I
movie.
do it for free.
There was
every
a
morning with my mirror.
There was a Joaquin Phoenix movie actually called
Yeah.
Her.
Yeah. Great movie.
And that movie, if
So
you
good.
if you combine it with the look of the way that AI can communicate, you're gonna that's gonna wreck people's lives. That's
They
gonna
already have AI avatars. Like, you can already talk to AI bots that have like faces, and like they can like wave at you like on the screen. That's already a thing.
And it's still infancy stage. Like
Sure.
all of this is still brand new.
But it's
already so advanced. It's like blowing our minds.
Right.
Because I watched someone on Reddit had a conversation with GPT to where they wanted to do a rap battle with it, and it agreed. It was like, yeah, that sounds great. And there's no person behind this. It's just artificial intelligence. And they went back and forth, like doing different rhymes at one another and different, like they were grilling each other and stuff. And Chat GPT was talking about how it's just an algorithm, but it can and it was schooling it with all these different words and cool things. And then it recognized whenever the other person finished, said the rap battle was over with. And they didn't even say, okay, stop the rap battle. They just said, haha, well, I've got to go to work here in about 20 minutes. This has been fun. And then they didn't say, haha, Chat GPT responded with a haha, because they recognized like a joke they said in their finishing statement. And it responded with a reaction of laughter. And then it continued with the rest of it's like, okay, well, I hope you have a good rest of the day. Thank you for having this time with me. And it was the haha got a lot of people like weirded out. Of course, it doesn't feel humor, but it sees it and it can respond to it, and it understands when humor's happening just within words.
damn.
Yeah, it's.
I'm writing it right now.
Oh, you're writing Chat GPT? Are you going to ask it what it's going to do if life gives it grapes? Ooh, do that. So at the end, we can do that. We can ask Chat GPT.
Okay, so I will do that. But
Okay,
for now,
for
I've
now.
got describe the 4 idiots that are best friends that meet every week to talk about past, present, and future nerd culture on the podcast. And I'm putting quotation marks.
Okay.
Nerd it through the grapevine.
It's a really good
Send.
Russian accent.
It's quick in its responses, too. Like, it sends you back pretty quickly.
This is unnerving. I'm scared.
Okay, so it says, as an AI language model, I don't have access to any real people or their personal information. However, I can provide hypothetical description of 4 fictional characters who could fit the description you have provided. Meet the 4 best friends who host the weekly podcast Nerd It Through the Grapevine. Max! Max is tech-savvy nerd who loves all things related to gaming, coding, and virtual reality. He's always on the lookout for the latest gadgets and has a unique ability to break down complex technology jargon into understandable terms. Max is the go-to guy for anything related to technology. Emma Emma is a comic book enthusiast who has an encyclopedic knowledge of all things superhero related. She can tell you everything you need to know about Marvel, DC, and everything in between.
Hell yeah,
She's
dude.
also an expert in cosplay and loves to attend comic book conventions.
Oh,
David is a movie buff who has an opinion on every film genre you can think of. He's especially passionate about science fiction and horror movies, and can go on for hours discussing plot twists and special effects. He's also an expert in TV shows and can recommend binge-worthy series that you might have missed. Sarah is a bookworm who loves reading all kinds of books, but she's particularly interested in fantasy and sci-fi novels. She's a regular at local book clubs and can suggest the best books to read for a particular genre.
Tiny, are you a Sarah?
She also has
Sounds that way. Or This Is Our Children. Because the first one was Max.
She also has an interest in board games and can suggest fun games to play with friends. Together, Max, Emma, and David and Sarah create a dynamic and entertaining podcast where they discuss all things related to nerd culture. They have a great rapport with each other, and their unique interests and perspectives make for lively and engaging discussions.
So it did describe parts of all of our personalities.
Yeah.
So the ideal podcast about nerd culture,
We're hitting all the marks.
we have it.
We're hitting
we
all
have
the marks.
that thing. It already exists. It's real. We've done it already.
This is true.
That's incredible. That's validation is what that is. I feel validated.
So even the AI knows that Nerd at the Grapevine has the best chemistry for nerd podcasts.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. I'm glad we found that out today.
Man, thank you all for listening to the ideal nerd podcast according to artificial intelligence. You've done so on your alien technology in your hand or in your car with Spotify, iTunes, Good Pods, Castbox, and blah, blah, blah. Click 5 stars like you're out there in them, just roaming around looking for life, and give us a great comment about why you love us or why you hate us. That's fine too, as long as you do 5 stars. I don't care. And then go click on a link in our podcast to go buy a t-shirt with the things I made on the internet.
And if you'd like to discuss some things with us, such as what your ideal interaction with an alien would be, or what your biggest fear about the idea of aliens would be, you can do so very easily on our social medias. Get on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter looking up Nerd Grapevine. You'll be able to contact us and talk about those things, or pretty much anything else you want to talk about. We're bored sometimes. We'll talk to you. If you want to support us a little bit, get on Patreon, donate a little bit to the cause, get a shiny holographic Nerd at the Grapevine sticker, and be able to unlock content that we don't normally release to people whenever we decide to release some of this content that we have in the barrel. Marcus had an original baby before his current baby was born, and once that other baby is done gestating, we'll be able to release it to everybody. But whatever you do, don't talk too much about the baby that never was, because the idea of Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco going to hell just to fight for the world in a tournament of baseball with demons might cause somebody to have a little bit of...
I had something to say. Oh, I remember now. It was there and then it was gone because somebody took so long. It caused me some discord. Tom, I miss you, and I know you're an alien, and I promise I won't turn you in, but we should hang out sometime. Just like you should all hang out with us on Discord. There's a link in the description. We can talk about aliens in your life, or aliens that you want in your life, or aliens you want to bang, just whatever. We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and irrevocably circumcised.
We are also on YouTube. See?
But you did it.
We're going to ask ChatGPT to tell us what you do when life gives you grapes.
Ooh, I wonder what ChatGPT is going to think.
Wonder how it's going to put them in their butt.
Oh, I'll bet it. I
If
bet
it puts it in its butt, I'm going to be so happy.
I bet it has no idea.
ChatGPT works best with commands, though. It doesn't do all that great with questions. So I would put, tell me what to do when life gives you grapes. When life gives you grapes, ChatGPT.
If life gave you grapes, there are a variety of things you can do with them depending on your preferences and circumstances. Here are some possible options. Eat them as a healthy snack. Grapes are nutritious fruit that are low in calories and high in vitamins and antioxidants, making them a great choice for a snack. Make wine. If you have a lot of grapes, you could consider making your own wine. There are many resources available online that can help you guide you through your process. Make grape juice. If you prefer non-alcoholic beverages, you can make grape juice by squeezing the grapes and straining out the pulp. Share them with others. If you have more grapes than you can use, consider sharing them with friends, family, or neighbors. Experiment with recipes. Grapes can be used in a variety of recipes, from salads to desserts to putting them in your butthole.
I knew it!